Joan, when I introduce you, when you come up, I'm going to just stand up here with you because I'm going next.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our inaugural Michigan Childcare Champions event. I'm Kathy Zenda-Wilson, co-director of Pulse, the W.E. Upjohn Institute. We're so excited to have you join us. And not only that, we're really excited about the energy around what we're doing to address the childcare crisis in this state. And to be a partner in this has been an honor and a privilege for me and my entire team. And I want to give them a shout out for being in the room today. So if you're with Pulse, would you stand and come on in? Tashana, Dr. Tashana and Delta, and Beth, we've got Anne Ray over here. Ray Ortiz Gordon, our program director. And then we had Denise Rucker who checked you out. Thank you all. And we could not have done this without the support and help of the Early Childhood Investment Corporation. And I want to give a special shout out to Alicia Warren, who is here with us today. Thank you so much. Our work with them and with MiLEAP and Lisa Brewer-Walraven, you are in the room. Thank you very much. I think that those of us who've been doing this work for a while know that that there hasn't been this level of attention paid to the work that we've done for so long, and to have folks that are new into this space entering speaks volumes about what's possible, right? I think we've never had economic developers in the room before. If you're an economic developer, raise your hand. All right. If you are in workforce development, raise your hand. All right. Thank you, Gary. You're back. I know that we are live streaming this right now on our YouTube channel, and I know that I got a call out from Jackie Bunker-Bibb, who said that she is with us here today virtually, and so there are lots of folks with us that just can't be here physically. I want to give a special shout out to Dale for coming the farthest from Marquette, Michigan. That was probably not a surprise. So if that makes you feel better about your commute this morning, I think that yours wasn't at least from Marquette. So the fog joined us this morning, and while we're grateful that everybody was able to get here on time, we do know that traffic awaits you, so does construction, because we're in Michigan. So this means a lot to us to be in this space, and it's taken us a while to get here, as I said, but honoring our employers, who we're going to hear from today, and playing their role, right? They are not the singular solution to this wicked problem, but they are a player, and you've stepped up, right? Like, we've provided some on-ramps, and people are getting on board. I'm not going to suggest that people weren't doing work before we arrived, but we think we've been able to amplify that and really provide an opportunity for people to kind of deepen their engagement and understanding of the issues. I think that's what we've learned in our work with employers, is really that there was a lack of understanding about the depth and the wickedness of the problem. There was really some simplification of what they thought it was about, and so we've been able to provide some clarity and then really provide some tools to help them really address what was actually a problem for all of us, not just people with young children, right? So I've already given shouts out to our sponsors for today. I just want to give another just official one. That these are the folks that made today possible, not just financially, but logistically. This is not anybody who's thrown in the bed knows that this doesn't just happen magically, right? So this is something that we're really grateful that is finally here. We also want to hear from you. So on your tables, there are QR codes and frames. We are asking you a series of questions on that. At any point this morning you want to do that, that's great. You can do it after if you want. But we want to know, what did you like? What did you wish? And what do you wonder? We also want to know what's next for you. And if you're willing to share with us what you want to do next, please make sure you include your name, and we'll have somebody from the collaboratives reach out to you. Because we don't want this to be a one and done thing. This is something that we need to continue, and we know that folks need support, and we want to be positioned in a way that we can do that for you. So we want to know what your ideas are, and no ideas are too out there. Anything you have, let us figure out. Like, this was a dream. This idea of the Michigan Childcare Champions was a dream at one point, and look at, we're in a room actually celebrating this. So please feel free to use those QR codes. And if you are a social media user, we have some hashtags for you to use. Take a picture of this with your phones if you'd like to, so that you have access to it as the day goes on. We'd love to make some noise so that people out there in the world get inspired, know what's going on, and know what's possible.
And so years ago, I mean, how many years ago, Maria, has it been since we started tagging the When Early Childhood Works, We All Work? Probably 2020, 2019. We started really getting some traction around this idea that helped people understand that if we don't have a workforce in early childhood, nobody else is working, right? And nothing brought that to the forefront like COVID, that little thing that happened in 2020, right? That really changed everything in our worlds. And so we've been using that as a way to really help broaden the tent of who belongs in here with us trying to solve this problem. So When Early Childhood Works, We All Work has its roots in that. Childcare Champions of Michigan is our newest hashtag because we are here today, so let's try and make that a thing. And then Innovating Childcare, because thanks to the great work of ECIC and the availability of resources and support that they provide as an organization, they are really innovators, not just in our state, but in the country. And you know, we're getting recognized for that. This is something that is unique to us in the way that we're doing it. The regional plans you're gonna hear a little bit more about from Joan in a second. There are a lot of things we're doing here that we need to be proud of, and have we solved this issue? Absolutely not, but we are making great headway, and I'm really proud. So I'm gonna actually turn it over now to Joan Blau, who is the Senior Director at Early Childhood Investment Corporation, and she's going to go over some kind of level setting for us about what has happened, where we're going, and kind of what got us here. Thanks. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's, as Kathy said, a real dream come true to see all of you here today, and to also be able to honor so many employers throughout Michigan for this wonderful work. And hopefully, this is the inaugural event that is going to lead to many events in the future. Before I start talking, I want you to notice that you've got this great little button on your name lanyard. The goal is take it off your name lanyard and put it on your lapel and make sure you leave with it, because I'm going to be wearing mine. I hope you're going to wear yours, and maybe pass it along to somebody else if you feel they're a great childcare champion. So I'm fortunate every day, and today especially, to be here representing the Early Childhood Investment Corporation. We were created in 2005 to be a statewide leader in early childhood, and we're very proud to have created the Childcare Innovation Fund in 2021. It's really the first of its kind effort in the United States to reimagine childcare system in Michigan through common sense cross-sector solutions. We saw some powerful opportunities for systemic change. As Kathy said, childcare is a decidedly wicked problem. And one of the key areas that we really wanted to see change was in collaboration with employers. And I think it's wonderful that here we are today, 3 years later, honoring our first childcare employer champions in Michigan. We had an opportunity through funding we received from MiLEAP to try out a brand new idea. What would happen in Michigan if we brought together early childhood leaders and parents and municipalities and economic development to accelerate economic growth and meet family needs? And that's what the regional child care planning coalitions have been throughout Michigan. We've had 16 regional child care coalitions. 10 of them were led or co-led by economic development, and they've spent the last 18 months assessing regional child care needs and understanding family needs and preferences. Here are the 16 regional child care planning coalition lead grantees. I would love to have any of our regional coalition lead grantees who are here in the room today stand up, because they've done amazing work throughout Michigan. Their plans are being wrapped up and completed, and soon they'll be available, and we'll also have a statewide summary. And so we're super excited about that. And when the opportunity came about to really work in partnership in hosting these CEO roundtables, it just seemed like a match made in heaven. As a result of the regional child care planning coalitions, what have we seen? There are more organizations and people working on innovative child care solutions than ever before in Michigan, in every region of this state. And and previously siloed sectors like economic development and workforce and early childhood are co-developing and implementing solutions with employers to serve their communities. That has never been true before. And we involved thousands of families and other key interest holders in this effort, and we're building momentum, and we're excited about what might be next, including another Childcare Champions event, hopefully next year. And I'm gonna turn it over to Kathy.
Thank you, Joan. All right, Joan, thank you. So this scary big number should be no surprise to people in the room, but the Michigan Chamber has suggested that we lose almost $3 million annually in productivity due to childcare issues. That's no small number, right? And I think any of you who are employers, which actually all of us are, right? I think we define employers in many ways, but we each ourselves are employers as well, really need to appreciate that addressing this benefits all of us. This isn't just about a certain segment of folks, like people with young children. It impacts all of us for sure. And so I just want to keep us grounded in the fact of why we're doing this and why all of us need to address it. So where do we begin? Back in 2022, we started conversations in our region, and we're from Southwest Michigan, and we started conversations with our local United Way around this issue of engaging our business leaders. And they did something called CEO Summits annually. And so we asked if childcare could be the topic for their next one. We held our first CEO Summit then at Bell's. Everybody who's listening to me talk about this knows that if you have it where there's beer, people will come. And we had a successful turnout. But what we heard loud and clear from the folks that came was that we get it, we don't know what to do about it, right? Like, that's our struggle right now. It's not a matter of commitment. Maybe there's a little lack of understanding about the complexity of the problem. We could do more about that. But we really don't have any tools. And so we got to work and develop the Pulse Roadmap, which has now been used in just about every state, 10 different countries, and we hope most of you, this is not news to you, right? This is an online platform that you can use with employers. If you're an employer, you should be using it yourself, that when done well and done based on the data that you can gather from your own workforce will help you make really good decisions about what's best for you, right? And it doesn't stop there. The roadmap actually gives you a path towards really engaging in ways that go beyond just helping your workforce, but helping the sector as a whole. How do I advocate as a business leader? How do I utilize and leverage the networks that I have and the voice that I have to try and create change? Because childcare, yes, it's a wicked problem, but it's also not going to be solved by the market, right? We have to move towards childcare being infrastructure. If childcare is infrastructure, as all of us in this room believe it is, then it needs to be funded as such, publicly. And that's a big ask. That requires that we build public and political capital and the public will and the political will to make that happen. And that's gonna be a lot of loud voices that are gonna have to really raise the level on what it's gonna take to do that, show people what the paths are. And so those of us working in early childhood really struggle to get our voices heard often. But you know, CEOs of large corporations and businesses, they actually have voices that can be a little louder than ours in rooms that we don't get invited into. So this idea of creating a network of all of us speaking from the same playbook about what's possible holds a lot of potential. And the roadmap is built to actually help us support that kind of effort. So we're excited about it. We update it often, so please go there. Also know that we are adding additional roadmaps. And as soon as next week, going live will be the municipal roadmap. That thank you to McKenna for their support. They're in the room. If you want to raise your hands, McKenna and Associates. Great partners and really helping municipalities understand what their role is. And so similarly, right, we hear from municipalities, childcare is not our thing. And for those of you who know my history, I served as a city commissioner for Battle Creek's Ward 4 several years ago. And when I even uttered the words childcare from the dais, I was told that the city doesn't do childcare. Like, there was such a resistance to even engaging in the conversation that it was palpable, right? So I had to show them the way that cities could actually try and engage in this effort. And we've come so far from that conversation right now. Like, we're We're digging into what the zoning policies are and helping people understand how they can be different to be childcare friendly. We're integrating childcare into the redevelopment ready communities framework with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Do I have any MEDC folks in the room? No, that's their loss, but they're ready to shout out anyway. Because they actually, when I called Michelle Parkinen and I said, hey, what can we do about this framework? She said, let's get to work. Like, she didn't even hesitate. So we have had partners at the state level who just, it feels like they've just been waiting. They've been waiting for somebody to say, let's do this. And so we're grateful for partners like that and making those things possible. So visit thepulseroadmap.org often and tell your friends. And that led us to, we had the first CEO summit that we had at Bell's in Kalamazoo. We then went to work and put together the Pulse Roadmap, which led to a second, what we called an action summit, where we brought together those same business leaders 6 months later, and we said, you asked for a tool, we have a tool, we unveiled the Pulse Roadmap, and we started getting to work, right? That has really yielded for us in our region. Now it's slow work, it's not, you don't like open the floodgates and everybody just comes in. It's got to be methodical, there's a lot that has to go into it, but we found some real early champions that were willing to walk alongside us and really help us understand what needed to happen. And so we've been making those changes, and the state paid attention to that. And they came to us earlier this year and said, what if we did CEO summits around the entire state? So we said sure, because we don't know how to say no, right? And we held CEO roundtables, is what they ended up being called, around the state. I want to thank all of us. If you hosted a CEO roundtable in your region, could you raise your hand, please? So we have several folks here. Some of them ended up being very small and intimate. Some of them were really big, filling up giant rooms, and some were in between, right? But what we know is that people walked away inspired and engaged, and that was the goal, right? That they could say, I've now connected with some peers, I've been able to network with people, I've learned more about the childcare crisis itself, I have a tool now I can take back and actually try and use. And so we've had just great success with these events, and we know that we want to continue doing these. Here are the locations where those CEO roundtables were held. Kalamazoo, we've had 3, right? So we're going to continue to do this. We hope others do as well, and that there is a way for us to organize ourselves so that we're leveraging what's learned across all these spaces, and it's not just staying in your region. But these were, I was able to attend most of these, and they were very inspiring spaces to be in, I can tell you that. We managed to engage over 600 people through these events. That's no small cookies, right? Like that's a big number, right? And that's through 15 different events across Michigan. So a round of applause to all of you who did this work. I think we all did well. So that's what leads us here. As we were in these events, as we were meeting employers, as we were talking to our fellow planners, we're like, there needs to be something that lifts up the work that these folks who are very new to this space typically have been doing. And so that is how this idea of Michigan Childcare Champions was born. We want to honor those folks who are doing that. Let them know that they're not alone. Let them meet the others that are actually doing this work. And then have this be something that we do regularly, right? It's not just about getting trophies and having a room with yummy, yummy food. I hear it's really good. I know if you have the bread that's under the light, I heard that's especially good. But it is really about trying to inspire folks, connect folks, and make sure that we're actually supporting them. I can tell you that the infrastructure to support our employers still needs work, right? So the technical assistance that it's going to take to get each of you as an employer to be able to actually move through the steps that it takes to actually do something to address this will require all of us working together to make that happen. But we're confident, because this has been the way Pulse's work has gone the last dozen years, is that we've been able to lift up and really kind of shine a light on a need. The world answers, right? And I'm confident that that is happening now, and that there's going to be room for us to do this moving forward. So in the works, I would really, our team is really excited about the idea of exploring a certification process for family-friendly employers. What would it look like for you to have in your toolbox when you're trying to attract and retain your workforce a designation that says, if you've got families or you care about this issue, so do we, right? This is a way for us to be able to say and highlight, this is the criteria that you would go through to actually make that so, and we want to make sure that we're here to support you around that. I mentioned the employer technical assistance. This is something that we are setting ourselves up to try and do, but we're gonna need a lot of us doing that work. So what's that gonna take for us to organize around it? And then, as I mentioned also, the additional stakeholder roadmaps. It's not just municipalities, it's economic developers and development as a whole, right? Workforce, economic, community, it's not just one. If I'm thinking about through the lens of an economic developer and I'm looking at trying to attract businesses to my region or my community, I better know what the state of childcare is in my community. Otherwise, you know, we have Ford coming to Marshall, just east of us, hiring 1,700 people in like 2 months. That's a big ask in a place that is currently a childcare desert. So having those conversations early is important because those folks actually need somebody, and we're gonna have to all work to bolster our childcare in that space to make it happen. We're looking at policymaker roadmaps. What do our policymakers need to know? And this is gonna come out of the plans that are being analyzed right now. Like, what are the policy recommendations from each of these regions? Because I guarantee you, based on the relationships I have with my fellow planners, that there's a lot of similarities in our asks about what policies need to change. And so we wanna make sure that we're looking at those and speaking with one voice about what we need to have altered so that we can create the change that we need to actually make Michigan the best place to raise a family, right? All right, so this is what we're looking at. So the moment we've all been waiting for. It's got my hands all sweaty. I'm really warm, and I don't know if it's just because of the lights. Is everybody else warm?
Yes.
Andy, can we get the temperature adjusted? Is that a thing? All right, thank you. I'd rather be cold than hot. I feel like I'm like melting up here. Okay. So I want to reintroduce Joan Blau, who's going to provide some remarks on behalf of some folks from BUP that could not be here today in honor of our first awardees. So Joan.
All right. Hello again. This is quite a nomination. I was really touched when I read it, so I hope you will be too. I have the great honor to speak on behalf of Rachel May and Shilpa Jobalia. So they nominated President Brock Tessman from Northern Michigan University and CEO and founder Gretchen Preston from Gretchen's House for the 2024 Michigan Childcare Champions Award. Together with Northern Michigan University leaders Dale Kapla and Ria Deaver, they forged a partnership to combat the childcare crisis in our community that is truly exemplary. In 2021, we formed the NMU Early Childhood Education Center Task Force, composed of concerned individuals from both the university and local community who were desperately seeking solutions to the childcare crisis in the Upper Peninsula. Parents could not work, and children were put on wait lists that they never got off of. Combined with a post-COVID era, families wanted more options and opportunities for their children to learn, grow, and thrive. NMU and Gretchen's House responded to the parent voices and the data from the NMU Childcare Early Childhood Task Force and implemented an innovative solution to a pressing regional childcare shortage. As a well-respected National Association for the Education of Young Children certified childcare provider for over 40 years with 8 centers in Ann Arbor and Houghton, Gretchen Preston was excited to partner with NMU, who agreed to subsidize, we should all cheer, the cost of high-quality childcare for their faculty, staff, and students. That is leadership. Gretchen and her team travel to the Upper Peninsula regularly to understand the needs of community. That is also leadership. They invested their expertise, time, and resources to design and build the first National Association for the Education of Young Children certified childcare center in Marquette. What a great accomplishment. That opened its doors in July of 2024. Associate Provost Dale Kapla facilitated the founding of the Michigan TriShare Hub in the Upper Peninsula, by encouraging NMU to be the first employer in the region to participate and lead the charge in making childcare more affordable. By splitting the childcare cost equally among the employer, employee, and the state of Michigan, more families could return to work. As one of the biggest employers in the region, NMU has inspired many businesses across the Upper Peninsula to participate and invest in the Try-Share program. These childcare champions changed the childcare landscape in Marquette by demonstrating that businesses can and should invest in childcare. Their collaborative efforts have improved the opportunities for families to thrive, and for children to grow and learn. Thank you for recognizing their accomplishments and listening to the impact they have made for our community and our region's youngest citizens. And I'd like to invite Dale and Gretchen up to the stage at this time, please.
Wow. This is not what I do every day, by the way. You know, I have a truck and it's usually full of stuff. Any of you in early childhood know that's what we do really all day when we're not with the children. But I want to say that when Rachel and Shilpa contacted us, they had already, for a couple of years, I think, been campaigning on the campus of NMU to get childcare on campus. And those are the people, those are the ones who really made this happen. They had, it was amazing. They had placards and they probably walked right past your office, Dale, many times saying, we want childcare, we want childcare. If they hadn't done that, I don't think any of this would have happened. So parents are an important part of this whole deal. And I also just wanted to say that, you know, in childcare, I've been doing it 42, going on 43 years. We're used to working alone. And Dale and I were just talking about that. We haven't had partners. This is new. This is brand new. I have never had so much attention given to this field and to the work I do every day. And it's amazing. Joan and all of you who are out here trying to make this happen, this is how it happens. And organizations like NMU who are willing to take the jump and say, okay, let's try it, are the ones who also make it happen. You need to know that they are supporting the tuition of their employees at our center. They are making it possible for them to come to us. Because we cannot provide high-quality childcare unless we pay our staff a living wage and have a facility that represents high-quality care, and that costs money. And they recognize that, and I am so grateful for that, Dale. Thank you. The university is wonderful. So, it's Dale's turn. Thank you for this wonderful award. My staff are going to be beyond the moon because they all work so hard, just like all of you do. You know what it's like. And we've been doing it for 40 years, and we're still here.
Well, thank you, Gretchen, and you've been great partners, and this is just overwhelming, and it's really great to see this all come together and get to this point. You know, 4 years ago, Rachel Mays, a faculty member in English, she called me, and she said, Dale, can you help me get childcare at NMU? And I said, Rachel, I don't know anything about childcare. And she said, no, it's okay. And I said, no, I don't have any kids. I really don't know anything about childcare. And she said, well, I'll teach you. And she did. And Shilpa taught me. And that community group taught me. And Gretchen and her staff teach me every single day. And it was just this project, and I said, I'm up for a challenge, let's do it. And so Gretchen's right. I mean, the faculty were very adamant saying, we need some sort of childcare. Can you please help us? So over a couple of presidents, actually 3 presidents, we were able to finally facilitate what we have with Gretchen's house. And it's been absolutely fantastic. From finding a location where they can have their center, to the accreditation, to finding faculty and their families. And I was telling Gretchen a little earlier, a couple of faculty members in psychology, I ran into them a few days ago, and they had been one of the ones interested in childcare when we started partnering with Gretchen's house. And they said, we have our child at Gretchen's house, and it is just absolutely fantastic. And so that word of mouth, like we were talking about, that word of mouth is so great. And we've gotten such great feedback, and it just, every single day I hear something about the partnership that we have. So it's just really fantastic, and I hope that this is sort of snowballs, because we can use more childcare in the Marquette area, and it started with just the top quality people. So thank you, thanks everyone, I'm just really pleased to be here.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you, Dale. Now, if you're not inspired, I mean, I've listened to Gretchen speak a few times now, and every time I walk away thinking, what more can I do? Thank you, Gretchen, for being such an inspiration. We should have changed the slides. I'm sorry. This was meant to be up while they were there, so everybody would know who they were. I'm going to invite my partner, Maria Ortiz-Borden, up next to introduce our next winner on behalf of Woody Sherwood. Sherwood Smith, who is, I said his name, it's his first name and his nickname, I'm sorry. Sherwood Woody Smith from the Traverse City area, who is the regional planner for Traverse City, and he couldn't be here but really wanted to make sure that his sentiments were shared, and somebody's going to do that on his behalf. Maria.
First of all, I just have to say, I've been sitting here just loving on these awards. And I just want to give a shout out and say, it's a company that I think Bonnie, you're the one that suggested this, didn't you? Found this company who makes these, and they're unique, so they're handmade, so they're going to be a little different. So I just wanted to point that out. They're beautiful. I'm very envious I don't get to keep one myself. Thank you, Bonnie. Maybe I'll have to come up with a reason to make one for myself. We all need awards, right? Okay, so enough about me. Munson Healthcare is Northern Michigan's largest and leading healthcare system, serving 29 counties with 8 community hospitals. Including 442 beds, Munson Medical Center in Traverse City employs about 7,500 people. In 1991, Munson's healthcare leadership saw that the employees and potential hires struggled to find reliable and high-quality childcare. So in that year, Munson opened its first on-site childcare facility, serving 50 children of the employees. By investing in this program, Munson's senior leadership believed they would support employees at the same time they enhanced employee recruitment, retention, and productivity. And 30 years later, they knew they were right. Today, Munson Healthcare Children's Educational Services provides care and education to about 500 children a year, including 92 infants and toddlers. So I'm gonna say that again, 92 infants and toddlers. The program has formed a unique partnership with Northwestern Michigan College to provide childcare for nursing students and other adult learners, and is currently operating a Great Start Readiness Program in Strong Beginnings classrooms. Accepting the award on behalf of Munson Healthcare is Bridget Wilson, an early childhood education expert and experienced program leader who was hired to run Munson's program in 1997. Community members who have had the good fortune to work with Bridget admire her collaborative spirit, her willingness to innovate, and her true commitment to children and families. Munson Healthcare CEO Ed Ness, who was not able to join us today, says, Bridget and her team are so essential to what we do here at Munson Healthcare. The work they do helps our employees provide the best health care to our patients while setting our region's children up for success in school and life. So on behalf of Woody Smith, I'd like to present Bridget Wilson on behalf of Munson Healthcare.
Thank you, everyone. I also have Kathy Kobe with me today, who's one of my senior leaders in our program. I'm really proud to work for an organization that supports early childhood at such a high level. To have 545 kids in service per year is such a huge financial commitment that they take very seriously. Collaboration is key, for sure. We are blessed to have Seth at the United Way supporting us through TriShare, and in many other ways. GSRP, Strong Beginnings, the college, Head Start. We have just been able to form really unique partnerships to support the hospital supporting us at a huge subsidy and cost to the hospital. And as we all know, healthcare is kind of a mess, as is the early childhood system. So to continue to have that support is so meaningful. We also are continuing to expand. Munson Healthcare is looking at adding another 78 infants and toddlers in addition to the 92 that we already have. Which is Universal pre-K is kind of changing the landscape. It's causing us as providers to care for the most costly and most loving infants and toddlers. So we really need more funding, and if the ask was what can we do, we need infant toddler funding. So thank you, and thank you for bringing early childhood to other people's attention. I am shocked that after 33 years, we in Traverse City at Munson Healthcare are still the only on-site child care provider. You would think that other businesses would understand the recruitment and retention potential, which has supported our healthcare system and is why we continue to expand. So thank you so much.
How exciting. Thank you so much. And thanks, Seth, for taking the drive too. Partners make this work, right? So next up is a pair of Jennifers that I got to first meet when I attended a CEO event in Macomb, which is actually the county I grew up in, so it was like coming home. It was inspiring to hear what they were doing there, and I'm honored to present right now Jennifer Wiat, who is the Senior Outreach Specialist with Macomb County, and she's going to present this award to McLaren Health. Jennifer's, please.
Good morning, everybody. So the McLaren Health System, Macomb County chose McLaren Health. They're a very large, one of our largest healthcare systems in our county. They include 13 hospitals in Michigan, ambulatory surgery centers, imaging centers, a primary and specialty care physician network, home health, infusion and hospice providers, and so much more. They have a total of 18,782 employees, wow, of which 80.25% are women. So they have definitely noticed the issue in childcare. They realized during COVID that something needed to be done. So what they've done so far, they've researched the market for every McLaren subsidiary. They've conducted a child care needs assessment survey. And now they're starting various pilot programs with the goal of going system-wide. Okay? McLaren Hospital is one of the largest healthcare systems, as I mentioned, and Jennifer DeSanza, she is the Director of Talent Acquisition for McLaren Health. She's been participating in our Macomb County Childcare Coalition, or MC4, since its inception. And what's great about her is she brings two perspectives. She's a parent of two young children, plus her role at the hospital. It was a winning combination to have her as part of the coalition. She's presented, she participated and presented to our CEO roundtable last spring. And she's truly focused on making a difference for the employees that are there and future employees. McLaren wants to be the employer, the healthcare employer of working families. So I would like to dedicate this award to McLaren Health.
All right, my turn. Thank you, Jennifer, for recognizing me and nominating me for this award. So as you mentioned, McLaren has over 18,000 employees, so it's a little surprising that until the inception of my role, I am the first person to hold this role at McLaren of Director of Talent. For 2.5 years, nobody had looked at childcare as an issue. Being such a large employer, that is rather shocking. There was a statement that Kathy made that we want to make Michigan the place to raise a family. I am a Tampa, Florida transplant. I often question that decision in February. But I came to Michigan with the intent of starting raising my family here. This is where I wanted to have my family. I called the current childcare provider for my two young ones when I was 7 weeks pregnant. I called them and I was like, I would like to get on the wait list. And they said, how old is your child? And I said, 7 weeks gestation. And they told me, call back after you give birth, which I did, and then they finally took my son at 15 months old. So that lets you know I am not the only one who encounters that. And I wanted the best, the highest quality childcare, and I had the privilege of having a partner who could watch our child during the day so I could continue my career. Not everyone has that. And as Jennifer mentioned, we are 80% women, very proud of that as well. A lot of women in leadership. But when COVID hit, we did see a lot of women left the workforce to stay home and raise children, and they haven't fully returned in force. When we think about, we have the childcare problem, we also have an issue with healthcare. Munson spoke on it, we're a little bit of a mess in healthcare, we'll own it, we're trying to get better, but the childcare issue as an employer is not just a childcare issue, but it's a healthcare issue. When I look at one of our most important job families, we call them service and support at McLaren, that's gonna be our nurse assistants, that's gonna be our surgical technologists, the people that are cleaning the tools for you to go into surgery. You want them there, you want that hospital fully staffed for your care. And when I look at our turnover, 50% of individuals in that job family leave over the span of 1 year. And of that 50% turnover, about 23% of that reason is attendance. And when we drill further, it is a lack of childcare. So solving childcare is not only just about supporting families, but it's about supporting the health of our community. So I am so excited that this type of platform exists, this type of community, because I'm gonna be able to bring this beautiful award back to corporate and say, look, there is a focus and there is work to be done and we have support. So, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Pretty inspiring, right? When we think about, and there are a few of us planners who've been talking amongst ourselves about this need for us to really concentrate our efforts on our healthcare partners because their needs are so unique. And so stay tuned on that front. I do think that, we've got this focus on, I love the way Jennifer puts it, like it's not just about childcare, it's about our healthcare. Like, if we don't have those folks doing that work, it impacts all of us in many different ways. So getting this right is is just, it's not an option anymore, right? We gotta figure it out. Next up, I'd like to invite Amber Rumsey, a fellow planner. Thank you, come on up, in.
Peterson's first help us
You
is
can
on
do-
their way.
Oh, they are on their way? All right, so come on up. All right, Amber Rumsey is from the United Way of the Lake Shore. She's going to present actually 2 awards. We're gonna swap them right now. And so I just want to acknowledge Amber's great work in really kind of leading the way on the coast for the work that's been happening there. It's been inspiring, and I've been grateful to be witness to it.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I needed the short version, I can't wait. So we know here in childcare that whenever we talk a lot about barriers, and whenever we have barriers present in employers as far as getting employees, 3 things always rise to the top: transportation, housing, and childcare. And we are really lucky in Oceana County to have an organization, Peterson Farms, that realized that those were barriers for their employees and did things to meet that need. So they're building a housing complex right now, right across the street from the elementary, so that's really awesome. They have worked for transportation is available to their employees. And they also partnered with Shelby Public Schools to create the Oceana Early Childhood Learning Center, which is not only available to Peterson Farms employees, but also to all children in our county. It is actually the only active child center in our county. It's a county that is very much in need of childcare, so it's very much needed. We appreciate them in our community. And here on behalf of Peterson Farms to accept the award today, we have Sarah and Holly Schluckeberg.
Thank you, Amber. On behalf of my family, the Petersons, Richard Raffaelli, our COO, Tracy Blamer, Senior Director of Procurement, Sarah Walting, who is also our Sector Director, our team, and Shelby Public Schools, thank you. Being a working mom, a little while ago, my youngest now is 26, I understand the struggles, especially in a rural community, the need to have the daycare. I was lucky, I had a wonderful mother-in-law and a friend that could help me at that time, but we see as we look at employee retention, which has been mentioned many times, what can we do to enhance those employees, to have that family work-life balance and be secure in where the children are spending their day. So we appreciate this, and we are very proud to accept this award. Thank you.
Thank you both. And Amber, you'll let us know we honored you? All right, we will move forward. And so we know that traffic here is a little challenging, right? Commuting can be tough. All right, next up I'd like to invite Annette Sobosinski, who also has been, as a fellow planner, just really leading the pack and doing it for years, right? Like, I have learned so much being able to stand next to and in Zoom rooms, lots of Zoom rooms with Annette. Doing the hard work of not only figuring out this puzzle that is childcare, but also advocating very strongly on behalf of what needs to happen in this state. So please join me up here, Annette, so that you can introduce your awardee.
Good morning, everybody. So before I talk about my nominee, I want to also give a heads up to the NMU, because when we were starting our TriShare journey, they were a guide for us, and the partnership that they had developed there helped to support us when we started our initial conversations with our award nominee today. So we nominated the University of Michigan, and because of the fact that they have been super engaged in conversations around this issue, early childhood systems, childcare overall, and when we became the TriShare facilitator for our region, they were first to jump on board. So Christine Snyder and her predecessor, Jenny McAlpine, who some of you may also know, were first to be part of the conversations around how they could best support their employees, how they could best work to retain their employees. Like, they understood the whole system. And If you know anything about U of M, it's a very huge employer. So they were also really mindful about considering how to be a part of this innovative new program while not draining all of the resources for the program, because if they open up the program to the whole staff of U of M, the money would be gone, essentially. So really mindful about how to approach this issue, how to support their employees, and do it in a meaningful way. Since first starting on, they've even been able to expand it to more departments and more employees at the University of Michigan. So I just want to say thank you to Christine and invite her up here today to accept this award.
Good morning, everyone. It's such an honor to be here with all of you today to hold space for this moment where we have so many people in our communities, our partners, our sponsors, the entire kind of social system of understanding the need of childcare for our well-being, for economic success. And so I'm happy to accept this on behalf of U of M. As Annette stated, I'm one of many who had a hand in making this happen, my predecessor, Jenny McAlpine. But we've had a number of committees and groups that have rallied around the issue of childcare, creating committees to look at creative ways to support our very large community that is more than 50,000 employees and more than 50,000 students also who often have childcare that's hard to secure. And so I'm happy to be in this moment with you. I also just want to give a nod to Gretchen Preston. You know that book, Everything I Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Well, everything I know I learned from Gretchen Preston. I spent the first 11 years of my career as a teacher and director at Gretchen's house. And she really instilled in me the need for high quality childcare and to never give up the energy to fight for it. So this award is a very important moment in time, but I hope in 10 years and 20 years, we're looking at this as the moment that things change. So thank you so much.
Whew, and I'm really grateful to give a special shout out to Christine for coming on MSU campus for this. You'll notice we have blue and green in our logos. We're trying really hard to stay as neutral as possible, but it's not always easy. Next up, I want to invite Bonnie Bonfield, who's taking pictures, because she is co-worker, she's a colleague of Annette Sobozinski's. She serves as the Community Programs Facilitator with Childcare Network, and she's going to present our next award, which is the Ross Design and Engineering. Please, Bonnie, thank you.
So when I started working on the regional childcare planning project a little over a year ago, one of the first things that my colleagues told me about was this manufacturing company that they had been working with over the past year. The company, they said, had been working with them to convert one of their buildings into a childcare center for their employees. Months and months of work and a whole bunch of money had already gone into the project by the time that I came along. Renovations, inspections, licensing visits, and they were still working on it. I got to watch with excitement and a little bit of awe as the person leading that project pushed through the barriers to actually open the center for company employees. This really is a model for regional businesses in attending to what their employees need. We all know how difficult it is for families to find reliable, affordable childcare, and how far out of their way they sometimes have to drive to and from work to drop off and pick up their children so that they can go to work every day. But now at Ross Design and Engineering, Lindsay Hudson, who is now also the program director of that center, has ensured that their employees don't have to search. They don't have to drive out of their way to get childcare. And I know that their ultimate goal is to open that center for the broader community in their area. But what they're doing right now is amazing, and I think that they should be very proud of that, which is why I would like to present Lindsay Hudson from Ross Design and Engineering and Little Friends at Ross with this award, and thank her for being one of Michigan's inaugural childcare champions.
started in the fall of 2022 on this mission as a mother of two and a full-time working mom. I'm the vice president of our corporation. We have 3 manufacturing facilities and about 100 employees across those 3 facilities. We're a rural area as well, so we've been, I've struggled so hard to find childcare for my own children, and we're only 6 and 4 at this point in time. So the journey to be able to get to and from work, as well as we employ several women on the manufacturing floor, single fathers, we have several single fathers that have full custody of their children, and the challenges that we were all experiencing to be able to get reliable and affordable childcare was something that we recognized. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to speak today. But in large part, this is thanks to my father is the owner and president of Ross Design and Engineering, and so he has funded the entire project really to this point. And so I'm just honored and humbled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you both. Congratulations. I'd like to invite Amber back up because I believe her honoree has just arrived. So we're going to get back up here to Health West. Take it away, Amber.
Thank you for being flexible with me today. If you were coming up from the west side of the state like we were, there was a lot of construction along the way. So I would like to, or I nominated Health West, which is a Muskegon County-based organization, for the Child Care Champions Award because of their involvement with TriShare. So many of you here in this room know that TriShare is a program in which that helps families pay for child care. The state pays for a third, your employer pays for a third, and then you pay for a third. And Health West really dove right into TriShare for their employees. In our region, admittedly, we had a hard time getting some of our employers on board, but Health West saw it as, we need our employees here, we know that we need to invest in them to be here, and we know that it's cheaper to help them with childcare than to replace them for their positions. So today we have Lori from Health West to accept the award. She works in HR and works directly with the TriShare program with the employees, which they provide, I think it's 20 slots currently for their employees to access TriShare in Michigan. So thank you so much, Lori. Come on up.
Thanks for your patience with me today. That traffic was something. So I feel guilty standing here. All the way here, I'm thinking, why me? Why do I get to come up here and accept this award? Because the real heroes truly are the state of Michigan for caring about our working populations enough to have this program in the first place. Goodwill West Michigan is our agent of change, and they are awesome. I was hoping they would be here today so I could tell them thank you right to their face, because Jeanette Hoyer is the CEO, and she loves her community. I used to work for Goodwill, so I know her personally, and she's awesome. Katrina Rule is the manager of the TriShare program, and I call her the Golden Rule because she is golden for one thing. She cares about her community deeply. She cares about every single one of our staff that she has helped. Sometimes they don't qualify, and her heart, I can hear it breaking in the email when she's sending that email to them. And she will always find other options for them. Sometimes that doesn't work out, but she always follows up with that. So the support that we have received from the state, from Goodwill West Michigan, is phenomenal. We couldn't do that without them. Our CFO, she is the reason that we have TriShare. And when you have a CFO that cares about your staff, everything else is easy. HR is easy. So she was the one that brought it to our board. The board accepted it and didn't have this data that I'm going to share with you, which I think is totally amazing. Often the question is, how can we afford TriShare, right? I want to tell you about retention in our program. You can understand what I'm talking about. So
We surveyed our TriShare staff. They could be anonymous if they replied. 36% of those that replied to the 10-question survey indicated they are at HealthWest because of TriShare. They would be looking for other work. And if you're in HR or leadership, you know the guideline for turnover is this: the annual salary of the person that's leaving your staff. So we took 36% of that annual salary from our 20 participants, and we found that was over $216,000. The cost of TriShare for those 36% was under $15,000. I am no mathematician, I'm a people person. But that's a lot of money. So the question should not be, how can we afford TriShare? The question to your CEOs and your CFOs should be, how can we not? Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, Lori, would you come over here and take a photo? Oh, yes. Thank you. It's okay. She did not watch everybody else go ahead first, so we're gonna give her a little pass here. Yeah, I'm unbelievably inspired, I just have to say, from all of our presenters so far. And I'm gonna invite next Katie Mora, who's the Vice President, Middle Michigan Development Corporation, to present 3 awards. Sadly, none of the 3 could attend today, so she's gonna be accepting it on their behalf. But she is going to share a little bit about why they were nominated. And I think that each of these stories should inspire us and help us understand what's possible. So Katie, please.
Thank you. I hope all of my nominees are busy working on getting more childcare slots open and available, and that's the reason they're not here today. These different organizations have really been very essential to the work that we've been doing with our regional planning initiative, and so I wanted to make sure that we recognize the work that they've been doing. St. Cobain is a 350-year-old company. They have a location in Beaverton, Michigan, which has a population of about 1,100 people, so it's a small, close-knit community. And this particular company does a lot within that community footprint. And when we approached them about working with us on childcare, they didn't hesitate to jump on board. They have been an innovative company for many years. I think you have to be in business for that long. And so we were really excited to invite them to the table, and we were even more excited that they grabbed a seat and jumped right in. At the same time as we started doing our regional planning initiative and hosting CEO roundtables and inviting our companies to attend, we also had a grassroots effort start to launch in Gladwin County, which is where Beaverton is located. And that grassroots community involved a variety of community members. I'm not even really sure how they all got together, but they got together. And they wanted to tackle things that were of importance, and childcare was one of those top issues. So when they heard that we were doing some work and that we had some companies coming to the table, they wanted to come to that table too. And so as we've moved forward with our regional planning initiative, it's been really exciting. I hope this is what's happening in other communities too, to see people get involved at all levels and not necessarily wait for what we're doing, but just start to look at how they can be supportive in their communities. When they were reaching out to try to figure out who would be the best to start to work with, St. Cobain was the company that was an obvious choice, and they jumped right in. And so they're collectively right now working on a plan to help ensure that childcare is accessible in our county, in our region that has a 100% childcare desert across the entire thing for all age categories. It scored the worst out of all of our counties, and so we're already seeing them network and engage with a lot of our childcare providers, and so I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. Children's Discovery Academy, Sam Mitchell, who she is not here because she is caring for kids right now. She is one of my heroes. She's been doing this work long before I even knew that we would be doing this as economic developers. I'm an economic developer. If you would have told me 8 years ago that this would be within my scope, I would have said no way. It makes sense. I'm glad that it is. I'm a mom of 4. But Sam is definitely somebody who, she was doing a lot of this hard work a long time ago. And so getting to come alongside her and support her has been a real joy. Children's Discovery Academy is the only childcare facility in Gratiot County. It's in Alma, Michigan, and it has had a really hard road to be in existence. It was in existence, it had to close, it was without a space for a couple of years, and Sam hit the ground talking to employers, talking to community members, looking for innovative and creative ways for her to reopen her doors. We were able, through the work that we've been doing, to connect her with some additional resources and supports. Those doors are now open. We celebrated an open house with her just a few months ago, and it was incredibly exciting. She still faces roadblocks, and we're still working to overcome those. But through this process, Sam has really been someone who jumped right in. She mentors other people who've said, I think I could do this. I think this is something I'd like to do, but I don't know where to begin. She raises her hand, she jumps in, she helps others, and so it's a real honor to be able to take back an award to Sam. And then lastly, Edward Jones. Edward Jones has partnered with the Mount Pleasant Area Foundation, the community foundation there, in efforts to continue to expand what's happening in Isabella County and in the Mount Pleasant area specifically. And so Edward Jones has been a partner with the foundation to look at how they can help support and fund some of the different activities that are happening there. Since the Community Foundation and our Edward Jones representative have gotten involved, we've been able to provide some funding for not 1, but 2 facilities to open in the Mount Pleasant area. And we also have been able to really raise awareness. They've been fantastic at making sure that the community is really aware of what we're doing. And so, again, it's just a huge honor to be able to bring these awards back and celebrate with them as they continue to lay that groundwork across our communities. So thank you very much. Again, I'm excited to bring back the awards to them.
Thank you so much. Okay, and last but not least, I feel like I need a drum roll. All right, so I had the honor of presenting this last award to what I feel like is the OG of Childcare Champions, and that is Duncan Aviation. When we started these conversations in Southwest Michigan, not only were they the first to step up, they were the most dedicated at really helping us figure this out. And that doesn't mean that, again, that we've solved it. It means that they have really committed to walking alongside us on this path. So I'm honored to not only present this award to Duncan Aviation for their leadership in this newly formed space, but also for what we've accomplished together through this, what must have felt at the time a very odd partnership, maybe, right? Like trying to figure this out between an aviation company and this group that's doing kind of systems change around childcare, right? It was like, we gotta muddle our ways in a dark room to figure this out. Working with their COO, Andy Richards, has helped us build a movement. Andy and his team have walked with us as we developed new tools, tested out theories and concepts, and advocated for the systems changes needed to improve childcare in Michigan. He has written letters that have been published about the state of childcare in Michigan and what businesses can do about it. He's provided testimony to our elected officials, publicly spoke about the need for his peers to engage and to take action. He's changed HR practices at Duncan so that his workforce can address their childcare needs, and gone even further by instituting more family-friendly policies. He's provided access to his teams he's provided access to us, to his teams, to write a case study that you'll find on the Pulse Roadmap. I encourage all of you to read it. It's on their culture of care, and I think that you'll find it as inspiring as we do. I could go on and on, and to be honest, a trophy seems insufficient, but it's what I have today, right? It's what we have. Andy, I want to thank you for all you've done, all you'll continue to do, and I know that we're standing between you and Iceland, so I invite you up to accept this award on our behalf.
Thank you, Kathy. It's really an honor, and I am humbled as well to be in the midst of so many great honorees today. You're all doing such impressive, thank you. You're all doing such impressive work. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. So I was telling my table before the meeting started that I could have just followed this page 1 diagram, so if you want to just follow along in your booklets. Because a lot of what I'm going to say is echoed in that outline. So, Kathy, thank you for inviting me to this important event and providing me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this early childhood care crisis. Duncan Aviation's call to action began during the pandemic and immediately following, when families were forced to rethink how they show up to work, both physically and mentally, due to the sudden and complete absence of traditional childcare. Like a lot of employers, we adopted work from home options and flexible work schedules to make the new juggling act of taking care of young kids a little more manageable. Coming out of the pandemic, we were confronted with a new childcare landscape, where the pre-pandemic resources never recovered to their previous levels, and we now lived in what many term a childcare desert. Attraction and retention in my industry, like many others in this room, is as critical now as it has ever been in such a competitive employment landscape. Lack of affordable and reliable, high-quality childcare in our local area prevents many would-be job seekers from entering or re-entering the workforce after they have started a family. In addition, those current team members with young families may not be able to fully engage and focus while they are at work if they are constantly worried about who's taking care of their kids. This can result in the lost productivity that Kathy mentioned earlier, with that big number on the screen, due to distracted workers making maybe excessive mistakes or not showing up to work when they're scheduled because their childcare has fallen through unexpectedly at the last minute, leaving them scrambling to fill the void. Many of our team members, in lieu of established childcare centers, are relying on friends and relatives to take care of their kids. What happens when those caregivers get sick or have schedules that no longer allow them to take care of the children? I've been engaged in the early learning resource conversations for the past 3 years. These conversations have involved nonprofit community groups, such as Pulse, economic development groups, as well as other local businesses, who recognize the issue we face in this area of workforce development, and that's really what it is. This is a workforce development issue. As a COO, I have focused on finding solutions for my team that make sense for them and the company. Pulse has developed a roadmap that allows employers to see the many ways we can support our employees. Some of our typical HR options are quick wins: access to employee assistance programs, employee resource networks, and the aforementioned flexible scheduling. With the help of Pulse and our local economic development organization, Battle Creek Unlimited, we surveyed our team members with young families to determine the challenges they face when it comes to finding affordable, quality childcare. What we discovered from this survey confirmed our suspicions regarding those challenges. As a result of this survey and others, we took action. We rolled out a new benefit to our teams that functioned as an a la carte menu of additional benefits. The menu featured several buckets where team members could choose to place their additional benefit dollars. The options included 401k, HSA, PTO, or dependent care. This benefit is part of an a la carte menu of additional benefit options where we provide additional benefit dollars that grow as a team member's tenure with the company grows. Those families with young children often chose either dependent care reimbursement or more paid time off. Both options serve the same purpose of easing the child care burden by providing the ability to either take care of their kids when child care falls through, or more easily afford that care. In addition, we've had multiple discussions with current child care providers in our local area as we seek to partner with those businesses on ways to increase their capacity and affordability. From those meetings, we learned that some of our local providers have wait lists of up to a year, as Jennifer attested earlier, and 100 positions deep. In an effort to address this capacity and availability challenge, we have established a child care slot program that reserves slots in this local child care center. In this program, Duncan Aviation reserves 3 slots on a waiting list. Let's say that the overall list is 25 slots. So in this situation, Duncan would reserve slots 26, 27, and 28. We offer those slots then to expecting parents and let us know, hey, we're expecting, and we throw them on the list. As the slots naturally fill, our 3 positions move up to the front of the line. This program provides families the security of knowing they have a guaranteed option to provide child care. We already have double that amount of families on the list, and we just started this a few months ago. We have also advocated for our team members, for our community, and for our community with the state legislature, as Kathy mentioned, local government officials, and with local and regional economic development organizations. These groups need to be a part of the solution to this crisis. I encourage you to join us in advocating for your team members and your local communities. Join us in crafting creative solutions to helping your young families so that they can remain productive team members for both their benefit and for yours. Advocate to your local economic development organizations and your public officials regarding this crisis. These are just a few of what Duncan Aviation has done, a few ideas of what Duncan Aviation has done to help our team members. Many companies that we've already honored have done so much more. For those employers in the room, I implore you to get involved for the sake of your teams and also your local communities. Childcare and ECE has not traditionally been considered a workforce development issue, but it is now. We cannot expect someone else or some other group to solve it for us. Business leaders need to play an active role in solving this crisis. Thanks again for the award.
Thank you all. This has been an incredibly inspiring morning. I know that we promised to be done at noon and it's 2 past, so I've got a few closing remarks. Please be patient with me. First of all, you have lunch to take with you. If you'll notice that they've been setting that up, there are to-go boxes. You're welcome to stay here and eat it if you'd like, but those are for you to take, so please make sure you take advantage of that. Also, I just want to thank each and every one of you, from the nominees to the nominators to the people who just came here because you care about this issue, the people who are supporting this work and this effort, those of us who are planners. Let's make sure that we stay this committed, this energized to this as we move forward. Let's make sure that we're allocating resources, that we're advocating for the changes that we need, but that we're really focused on the end goal, which is really a thriving state, right? We want to make sure that everybody has what they need and that we can see the intersectionality of all of this work with the things that we do, because we all benefit when this happens. There is the workforce development part of this, but I don't want us to ever lose sight of the fact that early childhood education is also about this social good. That we want children to have these experiences that will allow them to be full humans that can live into everything that they're capable of being and doing. And sometimes that's work, and sometimes that's other things. Let's make sure that we're doing that for all the right reasons, right? There was a Nobel Prize winner who said that had childcare not been available for her when her daughter was young, she would not have created this one gene marker that actually cured a particular cancer. Having people out of the workforce isn't just impacting their wallets, it's impacting all of us in ways that are huge. So let's just keep that in our minds and in our hearts as we move forward. I want to ask all of our nominees, our award winners, to join us up here for a collective picture if you can before you leave. And again, thank you, stay tuned, this is not the end. We're really so grateful for all of your time. Thank you so much.